Yeah, see, that was layers, man. I'm building a cake right here.
Right.
You know, we have
You mean like an onion?
Yes, exactly like an onion. I've never seen an onion cake. That would be interesting. Anyway, Shifters got right of first selection. They decided to be second pick. G2 chose blue side. Thank you, G2. You keep the draft looking like in everyone's solo queue games. Makes it easy for us, as G2 are going to get rid of the Nautilus, which always signals, you know, Ashe, Seraphine, and then Ashe gets banned out by Shifters. No surprises there. Varus taken away by G2. Orianna taken away by Shifters. Jarvan taken away by G2. And if we're going to round out the usual sort of bans, a Rise here wouldn't go amiss.
Yeah, pretty much. But it just means Karma's open. We've been seeing a couple teams ban things like Ezreal to try and dissuade the Karma, but then teams just go, okay, I'll put Caitlyn with it instead. Yep. And it's still perfectly fine. Rumble, of course, still open. G2's Rumble, I think, is still a big question mark, especially given that, I mean, Broken Blade's Rumble is, I would say, fine. It's fine, but I do think Broken Blade is just having a bit of a rough split.
Really rough split.
Yeah, so, okay, Shifters are banning it. So one could argue that this is a good thing for G2. In any case, that does mean that Karma is likely going to be the priority, or Bard. We have seen this team prioritize Bard a lot. It's usually Labrov's go-to. In fact, he hasn't actually played a Karma game this split yet.
No, we have seen Karma banned against them a few times. Also banned by G2 in 70% of their games.
Oh, but Rise is open.
So Rise is open, as you say, Vedi. So we're going to see that picked up. Hopefully, we do not see a Rise ult like we saw in the LCK yesterday morning.
I didn't see the LCK. Don't spoil, because I'm going to
There was a Rise ult that went
a miss
with a teammate behind the tier 2 in mid lane, looking for a flank on a Jhin. The Jhin just stayed under his tower, and the Rise and his teammate had to walk out through the top side while the rest of their team died in the team fight. It was not ideal. Ezreal obviously has a little bit of an escape from things like the Rune Prison, so we'll see Paduck piloting that in this game. It's something he's very comfortable on. Also, the only AD carry that Paduck has won a game on this split.
Ooh.
So, G2 better watch out.
Sharing some facts right now. I like that.
Look, okay, I watched the facts segment. Very good. Loved it. Your delivery could have been slightly better. Also, we needed a soundbite when it was like facts, boom, you know, like a stamp.
There was a stamp.
Okay, I didn't hear the stamp.
There was.
It's just chat stats, man. You do a podcast with the guy, and you just make a segment that is chat stats.
No, I didn't. I shared facts. That's what I did. I shared some facts, which is what you did right now.
Sure.
We just didn't quite have the sound effect cue. Anyway, what is G2's answer to Ezreal Karma? Maybe something creative, or maybe Corkin Army. All right, that's also fine. I'm still, so I asked Gyoto, why won't anyone play Blitzcrank? And he says, well, you can't get Prio in 2 versus 2.
That's true.
When playing Blitzcrank, and I was like, yeah, you can.
How?
Just hook them.
Yeah, if they stand behind the minions, but you're so mid-lane brained that you forget about the minions. Ezreal Karma actually, the bot lane duo, the only time Shifters won a game so far this split.
Wow.
So, you know, Paduck went 7-1, Trymbi went 2-2-12. And Nivio is the lock into that Rise. No surprises there, which is something I didn't expect myself to be saying in 2026. The Nivio Rise matchup, one that we've seen a few times, and kind of abusing the fact that Rise has a relatively short range. Now we're going to get some top lane bans. Sion taken away from Broken Blade. G2 could look to continue pinch that top lane pool as well if they don't want to put Rooster on something good. He's been very good on things like the Jace, and I wouldn't mind the Jace in a relatively heavy poke comp from Shifters.
Yeah, it's funny because you know I've been playing too much Riftbound when I think, oh yeah, Shifters, they've got a really effective mid-range control-y comp. I mean, look at it, like they've got so much objective control, they've got good poke, like setting up around neutrals is really effective, relatively short range in the form of Rise, like it's all coming together nicely for Shifters. I do like the idea of the composition that they're building. There's that Jace ban that you were worried about.
I wasn't worried about it.
No, but in terms of Rooster getting his hands on it,
I also wasn't worried about that.
Okay, technically you are correct. Yes. However, I was thinking G2 worried about them getting a Jace.
So G2 were worried about it.
You're right, yes.
I just, as an EU caster, I don't want people to think I'm biased towards G2, but you know, it's
I know, that's not what I meant. That's not what I feel like you're reading, again, the onion metaphor.
I just had a coffee, man. I haven't been having much caffeine recently. The coffee's gone to my head.
Right, the Pantheon. Over in the LCK, this is like first pick, by the way. Like
it's really strong.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but it's now made its way into the ban phase of second. Okay, with the Vayne definitely says it's either a Cassante or a Gnar for G2 up in the top lane. The fact that Vayne now has to be a ban, kind of crazy. I don't even think Vayne top is that good. Like, even in the lanes that I see it played in, it never builds such a huge lead that I think it's a problem. We even saw yesterday cloth armor with 4 pots, which actually just survived the Quinn lane completely fine, which is a similar idea. Not quite the same, but similar. So, you know, I feel like there are ways to deal with it. I don't love the Vayne ban, but it's fine. They removed it. They're definitely thinking about picking a tank in the top lane.
Also, that tried and true Anivia Vayne combo. Used to see it in support all the time, you know,
Poppy's still
into the
open,
wall.
bro. Poppy's still open.
Yeah, Poppy top, you could bring it out. There's the Vi for Boukada, something that he does love to bring out from time to time as well. And we'll see where G2 go. Jungle, top are the 2 picks. As you said, we most expect to see the K'Sante. Like, K'Sante would make a huge amount of sense here for Broken Blade. Nav as well does a similar thing. And haven't actually seen him on that yet this split, but Nav is it's a top lane staple. If you haven't played a little bit of Gnar, have you truly lived in top lane?
The true BM now for Rooster is to lock in Yasuo. Pick Broken Blade's counter into him.
That would be good.
I don't... Ooh. So, Nocturne. For me, he's a big point of contention.
You have discussions about Nocturne?
So many.
Okay, interesting.
Because
I've never heard you talk about this champ before.
I think he's a bad champ.
Okay.
Right? But the reason why he's good is because early dueling, especially into Vi, he slaughters Vi. Vi can't do anything. You can literally... I mean, we've seen Razzle do it. You just walk into the jungle, Vi can't do a thing. You cannot trade back. The passive, in conjunction with just the additional AD that he gets from his Q early levels, really, really strong. Ooh, a Kali answer into the Gnar. Pretty creative counter pick there. We can talk more about that when we get into game. But the thing about Nocturne is the thing is, I think it's quite good early once you have pushing lanes, right? Your ability to invade, put pressure on enemy jungle, mitigate what Boukada wants to do. But in the late game, I feel like that the thing about Nocturne is he is very committal, right? Like, you are in there. And so you need champs that can follow. But what is it, a Realm Warp Rise? Is that how you threaten? But like it's into Anivia, Ezreal, Karma. I feel like that these are just kind of anti-dive-esque champs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay.
At all.
What are you doing then? I'm
just saying that you can go in with a Valkyrie. You can jump on people's heads.
Are you trying to hit me with facts right now?
I'm trying to hit you. Look, there's a ton of follow-up. Realm Warp exists. Phase Rush, Betty.
Right, yeah.
Gnar Goomba stomping on someone to jump over.
Right.
You can ride the tidal wave. Little surf
you can
on
ride the tidal wave, can you?
It's possible. It's possible. First Akali game we have seen in the LEC from Rooster. Only the second time he's played it all time. Last time was 2022, where he was playing on HLE Challengers. He lost that game, went 2-5 into a Sion matchup. You know who was playing the Sion?
Tell me.
Dundun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Throwback.
Yeah. It's been a while since you've seen him. As we get into game 1, Skew also on his Nocturne 0-2. So he agrees with your facts, Vedi. Good facts overall. For G2, obviously sitting at 2-2 so far in the standings. For Shifters, we talked about it, have only picked up 1 game win, not even a series win so far this split, with a victory against Vitality. Apparently, Rooster is 5-4 on Akali, but 8 of those games were as a mid laner. So I was looking at his top lane Akali games, but of course he did used to play mid lane as well. So that's my mistake. I'm sorry, guys. It's only the second time we've seen Rooster on Akali top. The last time was in 2022. Do you know which team he was playing for, Vedi?
Tell me.
HLE Challengers. And you know who his opponent was?
Tell me.
Obviously, you weren't listening because I just said it, Vedi. Dun-dun.
I thought we were revising history. But anyway, this is the whole point of Nocturne. Fight early. You get bonus AD for the... Oh, did he actually?
He did, he got it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So this is great for SkewMond, and this is exactly why you pick Nocturne into the Vi matchup specifically. The bonus AD you get from Q... I haven't played Nocturne in ages, but it used to be 20 at level 1. I can double check, see if it's still 20 at level 1. It's 15 now. I did know that they nerfed it, but I wasn't sure if they nerfed it at later or early levels. But 15 AD at level 1 is the equivalent of a longsword and a half. Isn't longsword 10 AD?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so much raw damage, right? On top of the fact that the passive really helps you as well, getting that extra bit of healing. And so Vi, who just kind of, I mean, what does she really do at level 1?
Hey, she punches and does something while punching. I can't remember what the full quote is. Punch first, ask questions while punching.
There you go. Great quote. Yeah, so all of the top side will be stolen. The question then is, Does Boukada now move into the bot side jungle? Does SkewMond immediately path back towards bot, or is he looking to split map? Is he actually just going to go for a gank?
I wouldn't mind this. Rooster, in terms of laning, already ahead of Broken Blade, dashes away with a Shuriken Flick, gets hit by the wallop, goes back in, Ignite down, but Broken Blade flashes out of range, and with the Fear Tether going off, SkewMond should be able to get a pretty easy kill on Rooster.
Okay, so first blood goes to SkewMond. Great start for the Nocturne. Like, you couldn't really ask for much more. Boukada wisely looking to cross map and steal away those camps that were stolen from him. But Rooster, I mean, I feel like he should have been a little bit more prepared. You know that the enemy jungle is sitting in your top side. You've been isolated from any jungle support. You're not running TP as well. The Ignite does give you a little bit more kill pressure. Well, it gives you a lot more kill pressure, really. But without that TP, you're now going to be heavily hurt. And if we could just quickly look at that top lane observers, we can see that the wave has been frozen.
Yeah, I think this is why Rooster was trying to shove out the way he was, right?
Right?
Like, if you know you're playing into a range into melee matchup, or melee into range matchup from Rooster's perspective, getting the wave under tower before you get ganked, which is the expectation, is vital, right? And so now Rooster, again, has to be a little bit further up in the lane that he wants to be. SkewMond coming across, and we'll realize his Krugs are still here. Only 2 camps stolen away by Boukada.
Oh, he skipped his blue buff, actually, just so he could get back to the bot side of the map. All right, fair enough, SkewMond. Yeah, but so far, fantastic early game for him. Broken Blade has got the wave in a very good spot top. Rooster will still gain kill pressure once level 6 and when he's playing into a Broken Blade with Mininar. The early gank isn't going to affect Rooster massively. The biggest thing is going to be the XP. You can already see that small pink bar under both of their names. You can see that Broken Blade is about a half level over Rooster, which is going to be the biggest thing that delays Rooster's ability to really fight him, because obviously Broken Blade 6 is going to come through earlier, and that's then going to give him a much bigger advantage in the top lane 1v1.
And it does make sense to put Rooster behind, because he has so consistently been... Oh, good stun with the flash rush. Boukada misses the Vault Breaker flash! Okay, that's about all you're going to be able to do in the mid lane. But yeah, for Rooster, although, you know, his KDA is low and Shifters have been losing, actually one of the best laning top laners we have in the league.
Absolutely.
He's a high goal difference at 14, high CSD at 14 as well. Nuclear making the flash come out. And Broken Blade on the other side has been struggling. Right, 10th in gold difference, 10th in CSD, 10th in damage percent, which is partly, of course, due to the champions that he's been picking. But we talked about it a little bit in draft. It hasn't so far been Broken Blade's spring.
No, it certainly hasn't. Like, there's always context behind every stat, of course, but they do reinforce this idea and this sentiment that Broken Blade has been struggling. Now, Hans could be struggling.
Focus Resolve going down. It's just going to get the root. Doesn't have the mana for anything, and without barrier, because he's running TP, just gets taken down in the 2v1.
Okay, so I am surprised. I guess Hans really didn't want to flash away from that. Maybe he underestimated the damage coming through from Paduck. The TP will bring him back into the lane, but the wave is in a fantastic spot for Paduck. 1-to-1 in kills as the bot lane of Shifters fight back.
Yeah, this bot lane and the Ezreal Karma combination worked out for them against Vitality here, coming up well so far in the early game, but SkewMond's still the person that we have to be looking at in terms of how G2 are going to accelerate their advantage. He's already 3/4 of the way, half the way to level 6. And when that Nocturne gets his paranoia, things become a lot scarier for you. Paduck has button his flash, obviously has the Arcane Shift, but if he uses that aggressively to try and put more pressure down on Hansama and Labrov, he is at risk of a flying Nocturne.
We didn't talk about it earlier, but Exhaust coming through from Paduck as well to help with the threat of the Nocturne diving in. Cool little last hit there from Broken Blade from over the wall. The no-scope 360. Level 6
So first, it wasn't a 360.
No
he did do a spin, and he was looking at it.
SkewMond ulting.
Going in with the paranoia. The Fear going to come out as well. Flash out from Nuke as he looks to get away. Put into the egg now. Boukada's going to leave him. Those eggs are pretty rotten as G2 will find a kill. Caps takes it. Meanwhile, Labrov looking for Trymbi and Paduck down towards this bottom side. Exhaust down onto Hansama. Essence Flux into the auto attacks. Arcane Shift away. Bubble doesn't quite connect. Paduck shielded up by the Inspire out of Trymbi, but SkewMond's on his way across. No flash for him. No flash for Paduck either. Duskbringer. Oh, just short of clipping onto the Ezreal, but now Trymbi needs to be a bit cautious because he's feared underneath his tower. Does still have the flash. No heal to help him out here. The Mandrid focus resolve as Labrov tanks a tower shot, flashes away very late, and underneath the tower, SkewMond just dies. Boukada's on his way across. No flash, no Vault Breaker. Labrov looking for the mood speed from the ebb and flow. We'll get it with a Tidecaller's Blessing too. Vault Breaker out again as they look for Labrov under the tower. They'll take him. Boukada trades his life for it though, as Hansama picks up a freebie. Trymbi still on the chase. The control ward down means that Hansama will know he can't back here. Can't park there, mate. Instead, parks a little bit further away.
Now, it is my job to help the viewer understand what is happening. The problem is that when I don't understand, my job becomes somewhat harder. Ultimate will be thrown out from Paduck to see if he can snipe, but as you quite rightly identified. So let's hope that the replay can help me understand. The idea here is to try and get that pick onto Paduck. He's very low. So now they go, okay, we can dive this, but you can't because you don't have a minion. So Hansama immediately has to get away, then the tower is stacking up, and then SkewMond, you've got no flash left. So a very ambitious dive, which is then responded with Shifters saying, you know what, we can dive this. And unfortunately, we have to go back to live, because I know that some shenanigans are happening.
Melmore behind here as 4 members of G2 begin to collapse on Paduck. He'll Arcane Shift out of the fear, nicely done, but he's delaying the inevitable you have to feel. Paranoia out from SkewMond just to make sure they secure the kill. G2 get their 4th, SkewMond gets his 2nd, and with a 700 gold lead. Trymbi looking to see if Caps oversteps. Yeah. Inner Flame coming out. Flash Frost as well for the stun. There's the wall. Does Caps have a way to sneak by it? The answer is a resounding no, as Caps falls to the Glacial Storm and Nuke gets on the board. SkewMond the next target. It feels like after one person dies, everyone else just follows like lemmings off the cliff. Boukada flashed forward for an attack. What is going on, Vedi? Trymbi will walk out through the tower range to get himself to safety, and Shifters will back away, but...
Oh, I thought another fighter had entered the arena as Hansama makes his way into mid lane. He's going to miss out on the action as we find ourselves 4-4 in kills. 8.5 minutes in, we've got a kill per minute. This was not what I was expecting to happen in this game, but this is the reality that we're living in, so we are going to go with it. Both teams are bloodthirsty. They're eager to punish the opposition at every moment that they can find. Paduck, are you the next target?
He is the next target, Vedi. It's hunting season for Hansama as the Duck was blind to the threat in the Tri-Bush. Hansama takes half his health, and Trymbi's on his way down here. Trymbi been involved in every kill of his team so far, and because of that has an Echoes of Helia already completed, which will help out with surviving the lane.
I don't think we're laning anymore, bro. I feel like if we kind of had a heat map of where the kills were happening, you just see a big red blob everywhere.
The collective lane of League of Legends, man.
Definitely a nice item spike for sure. Top lane, I think Broken Blade isn't too stressed about this counter pick coming through from Rooster, given that early gank that came through. The threat of the Ignite is still there, but meanwhile on the rest of the map, where does the advantage really lie? I feel like the both mid lane mages are scaling quite comfortably, both looking to stack up as much mana as possible. Looks like Nuke, thanks to that kill, will reach the Rod of Ages a little bit earlier, so he can start stacking that up soon. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, both AD carries find themselves even on kills. The Trinity Force slightly closer to completion from Paduck, but everyone finds himself hovering around mid lane.
Nuke looking for Caps again, Boukada waiting in the wings as Labrov is here. The jungle mid support mini ARAM, I guess, is happening because there are grubs to be found. And so Trymbi actually going to go across, get this Scryer's Bloom, get a little bit of vision.
Dragon hasn't been taken yet. Oh, Broken Blade getting
Broken Blade, Shuriken, Twilight Shroud. Perfect execution coming out alongside the Ignite. Broken Blade's going to go Mega after that Ignite ticks down, so it'll still be topped up. Grubs have been started by SkewMond. As you say, no real Dragon Prio so far. There's a small window for G2 to do it. But instead they went for a blue buff steal. Boukada, looking towards this top side, has the cease and desist. Broken Blade throws a house into the minion wave, and after that just backs away, swiping at a helicopter as he does so. Broken
Blade going for that early magic resistance, really helping him out in terms of the matchup and Rooster's kill threat. You can see that with the all-in combo. If Rooster had been able to get another Q off, maybe there's a world where he actually had execution threat Trymbi.
Hans with a good trade onto Trymbi here. Focuses off, has to Valkyrie away from it, realizes, well, I've been rooted like this once before in the lane, perhaps don't want to do that a second time. SkewMond once again looking for that steal, has the Hex Plate completed, but a Sundered Sky on Boukada's side does make it a little bit harder to trade effectively as Trymbi backs away right in front of their faces, almost gets clipped by a cannon, or a missile from the cannon barrage. It's weird that we're not seeing a Drake take.
Yeah, it's usually because you play around Drake using your bot prio, but bot lane has been killing each other permanently, and a lot of ganks from both junglers have been invested into bot lane, and the junglers often die when that happens, which means that the dragon then isn't converted as a result. But now, there should be a slightly higher priority objective. As I say that, bot laners are recalling, so perhaps slightly more delayed.
Yep, recall coming out from SkewMond as well, so unlikely to see that Drake take immediately as Rooster is slammed against the wall by Broken Blade. It's an interesting difference in terms of treat completion from SkewMond. He's been feeding his pet, the jungle pet, a little bit more rapidly. Down to 2 stacks left on that jungle item, whereas Boukada has 6 on his. Boukada doesn't have any camps to take either, whereas SkewMond still has his wolves, and if he has that extra treat, can actually upgrade his smite quite a lot earlier than Boukada. We talk a little bit about the early jungle invades and what it does for the team. It doesn't just split the map, also allows you to really accelerate towards that upgraded smite.
Absolutely. I also love keeping my eyes on the Rod of Ages completions, just because there is that small window where you get that spike, but I'll have to shut up as the jungler is looking for a gank on a Broken Blade.
Got it in, cease and desist there for the follow-up. Perfect execution coming out from Rooster. BB goes mega. The wallop goes wide though, and without that CC, there's no escape for the Gnar. Broken Blade dies, and while it's happening, G2 will take the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, nice gank from Shifters, and then a nice cross map coming through from G2. Overall, a fairly even trade, but funneling a little bit more gold into Rooster is very much what Shifters would like to do. Getting more priority and getting control over those side lanes is going to be important for them as the game continues, and also removing some of the front line threat from G2, I think is a good idea. So fairly even trade overall.
Yeah, about 30 seconds later than the slowest streak we'd had this split as well.
Wow.
The previous record was 12 minutes, 11 seconds. That was about, I don't know, 12:40, 12:45 or so. I didn't keep an exact timer on when it went down because I was looking at the stat on the screen at the time, and then I looked back down, it's like, well, the Drake's already taken, we're popping up that little text bar that tells you what it does. It reminds us what it does as well, which is kind of nice sometimes, because you're just like, cloud does move speed some things,
no, you're completely right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other? No? Good.
You want other things?
No, I just thought you kind of had a thing going.
Oh, I was looking up Karma's ability names.
Oh.
Because Focus, everyone says Mantrid in a Flame, right? No one says Soul Flare. And I feel
That's because I think a lot of people will be confused.
I think so too. I also think a lot of people are confused when I say Mantrid in a Flame. Gonna be honest, I think most players interact with League of Legends champions as QWER.
Probably.
Or passive.
So you're saying that I was right this whole time?
Oh no, I think it sounds a lot better if you say the name.
That's true.
I just think it, people kind of...
You don't think it's confusing in the middle of a team fight of 8 champions for me to shout, hits them with the Q?
I mean, I do. I do, and that's why I don't do it, Vedi, but you should. Gunblade completed for Rooster, as he is looking to try and spike through Broken Blade's health bar. And really, you're going to play around when he's just got into that mini Gnar. That's when you have your largest window to take him down. He's very squishy in that small form.
You know, the one thing I think we take for granted is so we've cast League for like most of its life, right?
That's true, yeah.
So just kind of by instinct, I know what the QWER is of most champions.
Sure.
But there are people that will have only just started playing League within the last few years. And so when I say Nocturne's Q does this, there are people playing League right now that are younger than Anivia.
That's so true, man.
And it's one of those things I completely take for granted that, like, all right, there's probably people at home that have no idea what I mean when I say
sometimes I think there's people in the game that have no idea what it's doing as well. You watch that, like, 1 minute to 8 minute play.
Yeah. It's always, every day's different here at the LEC, you know what I mean?
So true.
Never know what you're going to get. Well, I'd love to tell you at home what the game plan is, but they're kind of waiting for these neutral objectives. Shifters have very much a scaling type of draft. G2 are kind of waiting for those spikes, but as I say that, I can see some of those spikes have already now been hit with the Trinity Force now complete. Broken Blade, his Trinity Force is going to be delayed in contrast to the Gunblade of Rooster, so he has to be a little bit more careful in the side lane. But ultimately, everyone's reached those one-item spikes. The Rift Herald may become that big point of contention. We see the bot lane is now moving up towards it. Caps doesn't have teleport, but he's matching that of Nuke, who doesn't have the teleport either. So looking to be a 4v4 brawl if there is going to be an objective start. But I think with the strength of Akali right now, the Trinity Force has now been finished with Broken Blade, so maybe they feel a little bit more confident on the side of G2 to actually fight them should the Herald be started off.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Imperial Mandate on Labrov, matched by Trymbi's Echoes of Helia, means they're relatively equal in terms of damage or shielding output as well. So it is going to be an interesting one to see if we see that fight around the Rift Herald, because you talk about, like, oh, they've hit their spikes, they can look for a fight, but it's like, how do you actually find the fight is often difficult, and neutral objectives is an easy way to do that. SkewMond playing towards the top side is spotted out on the control ward. Boukada, man, this guy has made he's got a camp, he's put the pegs in, the tent is set up, he's got his sleeping bag ready. He has been up here quite a lot of the time, and it doesn't surprise me, because getting Rooster ahead on the Akali makes a lot of sense. Vault Breaker onto Broken Blade just as he goes mini, Vedi. Cease and desist there for the follow-up, and the jump isn't going to get him out of Ignite as he ticks down. Rift Herald is now the new target, and Shifters have a man advantage, although they have used 2 big ultimates to find that kill.
Well, they'll be happy getting the Herald off the back of it as well as Shifters find that pick and top, convert that top pressure down towards the Herald. G2 know that they don't have the numbers advantage to already contest, especially with Caps. And Nuke now, his ability to TP up. Easy objective secured, and Rooster getting to become a real problem on the side lane. And I don't really think that this is necessarily Broken Blade's fault per se, but I mean, there's a world where perhaps he could have been a little bit more considerate, seeing as that really feels like the only lane that Shifters have been looking for ganks for in this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's always one of those, like, play safe and you're dying under tower. He hasn't died under tower, he's died in the middle of the lane, but he also wants to get prio in the top lane to allow his jungler to do the Rift Herald, allow him to move down without losing camps, right? So I agree with you, but also there's always that balance that has to be struck as Camps looks for a Realm Warp behind Nuke, who flashes away. Shroud of Darkness came out from SkewMond, but he's on the wrong side of the wall. Nuke's walls have actually been really solid this game as Boukada comes in to help secure the kill. Caps looking for the damage. Tidal Wave out from Labrov. This feels greedy. Broken Blade's down here as well. As perhaps they were thinking they could catch out Nuke in time with an Aqua Prism into some spell flux, but no flux given by Shifters. Didn't give them the opportunity to find the kill. They'll still take the tower though as G2 crack open the first turret of the game.
So Broken Blade now hesitant to try and match in the top side given the strength of Rooster in the side lane. So instead they overcommit numbers on the bot side. SkewMond ends up getting caught out. I can see his flash is available now. I wonder if his flash wasn't available during the play. I have to believe that it was though, because thinking back, like, he hasn't really burned that flash very often, so just choosing to hold on to the objective, perhaps for the upcoming Dragon fight, which could be starting very soon, depending on whether Shifters feel confident enough. They have now just gone back to base. The reset coming out means that they've spent a bit of their gold ready to contest. 2
items on Boukada as well. Black Cleaver Sundered Sky is a big spike for him overall. He's going to put the Rift Tower down towards the middle lane. They might just look for the turret in exchange here. Don't have a huge amount of vision. They know the Dragon's not in the pit as they have a ward in the back of the Dragon pit, but SkewMond just starting it up, and I think Shifters have said, okay, you can take the second Drake of the game, we'll give you that liberty. Instead, we'll try and take the mid lane towers. Broken Blade once again on the wrong side of the wall. Nuke locking people in cages on this Anivia as the Rift Tower charges in, and Shifters get their second turret of the game, and with it, 1,000 gold lead, Vedi.
Great patience from Shifters there, because they recognize they are very late to that objective. It's a very difficult contest, so they don't really bother. They kind of hover around, fish, get a little bit of vision, but they don't overcommit. They realize that, hey, let's just take the mid tower. It's a much easier objective for us. We've already secured the top tower. And then our next game plan becomes very simple because we just need to get mid control and start putting our resources towards getting that last bot out of tower. Once we've got that, then we can start playing for the Dragons in the future. So I think it was a wise choice. I think Shifters play patiently, and the fact that they get the flash out from Broken Blade is an even bigger advantage for Shifters.
Nice overall for them. 1,000 gold lead at the 20-minute mark against G2. Pretty solid. We have seen them in similar positions before, though. Like, they had big leads against Giant X before they lost. They were, in fact, at 20 minutes in that series, they were 5,000 gold ahead in the first game. It's not their laning phase that they have struggled with too much. It is the mid-game decision-making, as we see Trymbi getting caught out by Summer and Labrov, and Trymbi's decision to be there was not ideal.
Yeah, it was a bit of a silly mistake. Like, half your team is resetting. You have no prio really anywhere. I mean, I guess you did have the push in the top side, but you end up getting caught out, and G2 picked themselves up a kill. And this was something that we heard yesterday. Ooh, hang on a second. It looks like Boukada's looking for another gank.
The Season Assist is available. Rooster looking for the chase. Gunblade for the slow. They dive onto Broken Blade once again, and Broken Blade dies once again. Not much you can do about that, unfortunately, for BB, as he has died for the 3rd time this game.
Yeah, and he wasn't playing disrespectful at all there. Just Rooster's at a point where it's now very easy to kill Minina, especially when you have the CC setup from Boukada. Going with Merc Treads and the magic resistance from the Null Magic Mantle is, sorry, Negatron Cloak, my apologies, it's not enough. It's just not enough. So yes, he's the target, but he's basically relying on his teammates now to be that carry, and hopefully he can land some big ultimates for his team later on when we eventually find ourselves in the 5v5.
Yeah, it becomes utility now at this point, right? It's all about the CC and getting, as you say, those big ults off or big wallops. But for the moment, Shifters are playing well through their winning lane. 1,500 gold lead for Rooster. Summer is 1,000 gold ahead on this Corki, though, because they've been given some of these plates on the towers. Also has an extra kill over Paduck. Item-wise, relatively similar. There's a Noon Quiver and a Longsword difference, but nothing too substantial. Importantly, Summer has yet to upgrade his boots, whereas Paduck did go for the Ionian Boots of Lucidity as his upgrade. So there's a little bit of gold spent there from Paduck that Summer hasn't invested in the Yeezys. All other shoe brands are available. Air Jordans. You think of any other ones, Vedi?
No.
Converse, New Balance.
You're saying a lot of words right now that I am largely unfamiliar
Hey, we had
with.
that Foot Locker sponsorship for a little bit. I thought you would have read up, you know? This was 7 years ago now.
Ran up? I would have...
Read up, Vedi.
Oh, read up. I thought that was some sort of clever pun that you attempted to make.
Oh, my puns are all not very clever, let's be honest. As G2 have decided, okay, we've had enough of BB in the side lane trying to match into Rooster. He just can't survive it right now. So we're going to put Caps over there instead. And Caps obviously very good wave clear and can also shut down the Akali in terms of CC when she tries to jump in, just room prison her, and then run away with the phase rush. So
I still don't think it's an easy match.
I'm not saying it's easy, but it's probably easier than Broken Blade getting constantly killed.
Because, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the wave clear. Mainly just Akali doesn't have the fastest wave clear, so Ryze walks up, one-shots the wave, leaves.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest pressure point that they can have. Broken Blade actually setting up a bit of a freeze here in the top lane, trying to get some XP back where he can. He's very close to level 15. The Dragon spawning in a minute's time. He should be able to get that level up, but Shifters already trying to be proactive with their vision control. Looking at the entrances, trying to clean out what vision G2 have set up, along with put some pressure down. Caps, though, very aware of the positioning, and he looks to play safe. I think Shifter's approach here is good, though. They've got Anivia just trying to catch that top wave. This tower, though, the kind of long con after securing that mid tower, easily secured. That gold going to be fed into Rooster, who is now the key carry for Shifters, with Paduck and Nuke not too far behind their lane opponents. They're definitely still in very good spots themselves. Broken Blade going to do what he can, but the tower advantage comfortably in Shifter's favor.
Akali, highest level in the game as well, at level 16, with 2 players with Rod of Ages. That is pretty impressive that he's ahead of both Caps and Nuke, who have those full 10 stacks. Will, of course, be able to get to level 20. Because he's a top laner, and apparently they just get free stuff. Yes, they have to get XP for it, but as a support, look, I'm just always tilted by the role quest, Vedi. What do I get? A slot for my control wards.
Yeah, you get an
nice.
extra slot.
Oh, huge.
Wow, so ungrateful.
Nuke with the wall there. Broken Blade has the extra health shield from the TP. Tidal Wave coming out as well. We'll clip Trymbi and Nuke as Trymbi flashes away. Rooster looking for a flank down towards the bottom side tri-bush here as Shifters try and step up. Need to kind of contest this Drake, really. They've started to do it, but they give it up. It is sole point for G2, and that Dragon's going down very quickly. Caps caught out, though. Season desist there for the follow-up. Caps there, shield not going to be enough to save him. The stopwatch coming out from Rooster as he is speared up by SkewMond, but he manages to dash out with a perfect execution. SkewMond goes down. Paduck beginning to pop up on this Ezreal as G2 are forced away, and the smite comes out from Shifters. Next up a Baron, the pings are on it, Vedi.
I was really worried for Shifters and how they were going to approach that fight, but after they find that pick onto Caps, they don't hesitate and fully commit into getting that kill. Rooster also buying so much time thanks to that arm guard. He's able to stall things out, waste G2's time, and put them in an awkward position, allowing for Paduck to just free hit in the river. Then we really got to see the value of this Anivia, the zone control that she provides with both the ultimate and the wall. She's going to have to do the same thing here to stop G2 from approaching.
Hans trying to step up with 3 items again. A Glacial Storm into the wall. Valkyrie has to be used by Hans Summer, and he backs away after it. Labrov still looking for something here. There's a Realm Warp available for Caps, but they're not going to be able to get a range in time. Shifters will get the Baron. 25 minutes in, a 3k gold lead, and the Baron buff for the next 3 minutes.
So remember that G2's very cautious of Rooster on the flank, but once G2 gets targeted, things kind of go into disarray. They immediately turn their attention onto the Akali, but a shield comes through. He goes into the arm guard. He comes very, very low, but they're not quite able to find that kill. Now the ulti from Anivia is thrown down, zoning the rest of G2 away. Nocturne ends up falling in the fight, and G2 can't really follow up once that initial pick has happened. So well played to Shifters. They played it patiently, they found their targets, and they execute well, securing themselves not only their first Dragon of the game, but the Baron to boot.
Shifters now in a commanding position in the game. 2 minutes left on this Baron buff. That's about 4 waves of pushing. A single cannon minion wave here in the mid lane with no real backup means that Shifters won't be able to take too much off this tier 2 for now. No one's answering BB pushing out bot side, so for all intents and purposes, it's a 2-wave push. They'll take out some of the jungle camps. There's some wolves and a Gromp to be stolen away, but really they're waiting to try and sync up top and mid. You can see Nuke pushing in that top side. It's a little later than mid lane. Rooster's going to stay around mid to try and buff up the wave with the Baron buff to make it a little bit harder for Caps to clear out, but Shifters have put all of their attentions towards this top lane tier 2. Hans Summer on the wrong side of the wall once again, as Nuke continues to put those crystallizers in advantageous positions. He's got a little bit of practice on the bird.
I mean, we're seeing, again, one of the reasons why I just kind of don't like Nocturne right now. Like, it's so hard for G2 to really engage into this comp, and obviously they're on the back foot right now contesting against the Baron, but I think that last fight demonstrated that once that initial pick has been found, like, you're out of juice. Like, you just kind of run out unless Broken Blade finds this crazy flank into Flash, into ulti. It's very difficult for G2 to play, and the fact that Caps got caught, he got caught over a wall, which against most matchups you're thinking, hey, that's fine, but that's why Anivia is considered so good into Rise, because of how difficult she can make it for the Rise to play. So I do love the approach that Shifters had coming into this draft, and part of the reason as to why this Ezreal Karma is so feared around the world.
It's a solid draft overall. Ezreal Karma got themselves a little bit of a lead down towards the bottom side in the laning phase, but I have to give credit to Boukada and Rooster being able to come back from that early kill onto Rooster and then get the Akali in a position where really no one can match him effectively in a side lane. Right now he's in mid while the rest of Shifters are down with their final couple of minion waves on this push. 20 seconds left on the Baron buff. They're looking to try and take down another tier 2 out of it. Would leave the inhibitor towers up after the Baron does expire. Realm Warp a possibility here for Caps as he could try and get BB behind, especially since he's going into Mega, but now that Broken Blade's about to show in the mid lane, it becomes a lot harder for him to actually find that flank. He's waiting on the Mega Blast Cone, and he takes it back to mid. I was just thinking to myself, does Rocket Belt really make sense as a third item? And then Nuke Rocket Belts into wall. Okay, well that is tech that I've never seen before, but I do still think that maybe a Zhonya's would have made a little bit more sense. Hey, everyone likes Rocket Belt, Betty, okay? You can dodge away from an Aqua Prism.
Right.
You can dodge away from a Tidal Wave.
Yeah.
If a cannon is coming from you from Cannon Barrage, sorry, the Missile Barrage, the Corki ult.
Yeah.
Just dodge away from it, dude.
You could Rocket Belt away from a Nocturne Q.
It's so versatile.
Oh, well, speaking of versatile, Boukada coming in from over the wall.
Cease and desist onto Han Summer. The rest of the team not really there as Caps begins to open up. The dive onto the backline from SkewMond's going to take out Trymbi, and now Boukada is put into the Guardian Angel. True Shot Barrage out, Nuke flashing away from Broken Blade. Rooster now going to join the fray. Immediately stunned. There's the Aqua Prism. If only he had a Rocket Belt, he could have dodged it. Realm Warp in for the chase as Shifters overstep in the mid lane, and G2 punish them. G2 will find 3 off the play, and just like that, the fortunes turn in their favor. How does this happen for Shifters? You are in such an amazing game state. The dragon is spawning, and you just full send it into mid without seeing any of the coordination that we've been seeing from them in this game. Look at Boukada's engage. Sure, the idea is good, but your Akali isn't here. Like, how is this trio going to follow up on this deep of a dive? Caps becomes the target on the other side, but he chunks out Trymbi. And then now Nocturne is 1v3 on the backline. They're all terrified of him when I really don't think they need to be, but they're having to deal with this single member. Then the Akali arrives. Akali gets soloed because the rest of the team can't really offer any support, and then Paduck is isolated. Like, the coordination that we saw in the previous Dragon fight in contrast to this fight was night and day. It was odd. And I mean, Striker's reaction says it all. Yeah, because it was good till that moment, and that's kind of been the story of Shifters Split, right? You're up a few thousand going into the 20-25 minute mark, and then you take a fight and you just lose it. Actualizer completed on Caps. Didn't see if he had it before that last fight. And it's one of those things as well where, like, G2, as much as they slump, as much as they make mistakes, like, you can't just assume that it's a free win once you've got a lead, right? They've got smart players that are very aware. But I see, SkewMond. Boukada looking for the season desist onto Han Summer. Paranoia means that he's out of range, and with a tidal wave there for the follow-up, the damage is not going to be enough. SkewMond traded back as Rooster dives the backline, but now he's on the wrong side of 4 members of G2. A stopwatch. And he wishes he could stop, rewind, and take that play back as he goes down. 2 kills over to G2. Shifters do have good defense. Glacial Storm will hold the line for now. Baron up in 7 seconds though. Broken Blade dives over the Crystallize into another Glacial Storm. Paduck trying to hit the Arcane Shift, the Mystic shots in fact, but can't land them. Well, I feel like G2's wasting a lot of time trying to stay in mid. They don't have a jungler. But so like, bot wave needs to be caught right now. Like, they're better off just pushing out the waves, resetting, going to catch. Like, Shifters is completely fine stalling them here, because the longer they keep G2 here, the longer the deaths aren't punished. True. It ends up just being 2 kills for G2, which isn't that end of the world for Shifters. But
a very heavy commitment here as Shifters, they think they found Hans Sama. The re-engage comes through from G2. The Fear does connect. The follow-up is good. The Realm Warp is forced to be used by Cap so that he can quickly rejoin his team. But again, I find that Shifters are in a position where they just don't quite have the numbers. It's a fight where they think that they have an advantage, but the Realm Warp keeps creating that difference.
It's entirely without Nuke as well.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I mean,
yeah. He's just walking down from the top lane. Rooster comes in very late, and yes, he did do a good job killing SkewMond, right? Getting rid of the enemy jungler in that position is solid.
Stops the Baron, for sure.
Stops the Baron, but like he just dies for it because Shifters are tickling the rest of G2.
But this is what I mean by the Realm Warp being such the biggest difference,
you're 100% right?
And so they try and force these fights in mid, and they don't respect Caps' ability to quickly collapse. And it ends up being these numbers advantage. Now G2 have the gold lead, which is very frustrating for Shifters because like you're in such a good spot. I feel like you have such a good comp. It's so difficult for G2 to find these engages, and you just make it easy for them as Nuke might now be targeted.
In. The rest of Shifters are here. Whoa. The jump across the wall with the blast cone. Broken Blade going to get caught out by Rooster, who needs to get out of dodge, but SkewMond now is the one behind enemy lines, and with the chase coming out from Shifters, this is the enemy jungler. They'll catch him in the GA. Caps is still pushing mid, does have the Realm Warp, but they're not going to join their good friend Skew, who's skewered by Rooster and picks up his 5th kill of the game. G2, though, will punish the fact that Shifters sent a lot of players up towards the top side by taking down the tier 2 in mid.
Well, G2, I think, went way too deep on that play. SkewMond thought that he'd caught the Anivia out, but the Blast Cone, I think, was a big difference maker. The calm was probably Anivia for no flash, let's get that kill. But then Nuke was able to create enough space between SkewMond and Broken Blade that he could then get the Blast Cone to safety, converting it into a pick. I thought Shifters would consider a Baron, but I guess they're a little bit afraid to start it with so many members of G2 still alive. They will end up losing that tower, as you highlighted. The game sort of resets to this neutral spot. It's likely that we're going to be playing for Soul soon. We'll look back at this again, and it's a very deep commitment, as we were talking about. SkewMond saying, hey, no flash on the Anivia, but the Anivia is able to get away to safety, good wall placement as well, and then Rooster arrives to threaten Broken Blade and get him away from the fight.
I actually think part of it as well is Broken Blade stopped Nuke's reset with the boomerang.
Yeah.
So they probably assumed the rest of the Shifters were resetting at the same time.
Also possibly.
So it's a, hey, we've just got Nuke out by himself, everyone else is back in base. Didn't expect there to be 4 players there immediately.
I honestly think the Blast Cone is what caught.
I mean, the Blast Cone definitely
caused
caused the death, right? But it's maybe, like, do you need to paranoia immediately onto Nuke in that situation, right?
Interrupting the back, I think, was a win in and of itself, right?
Agreed. But
we're
G2,
back to mid lane
with a 1.5k gold lead. Mid lane will be where we play for the next while, Vedi, because there's a Chem Soul available to G2 in 20 seconds, and there's a Baron up.
Well, G2 actually don't have to engage with the Dragon at all. They could threaten the Baron. The question is, can they 2-man it? It looks like they're thinking about it. I see the Nocturne, I see the Rise on the minimap.
Right, it's a 4-item Rise, right? It's Caps' Rise as
they're
well.
doing this.
That's going down pretty sharpish. Control Ward down there as well as Hans Sama caught out a little bit. Nuke Hex, Rocket belting forward. I made a new item there for a second. Paranoia out, and yeah, you can't collapse anymore as Shifters. A good Baron take by G2. Shifters, though, will turn their attentions towards the Drake. Realm Warp into top lane. It's going to be a tier 2. We'll see if it's any more than that.
They don't care about the Dragon at all, and this is putting a lot of pressure on the Shifters. They're constantly having to react, and like, again, say what you will about G2, they have great map awareness. They know how to punish, and they know how to take advantage of Shifters having to make quick decisions in this situation, and they're running the Rift right now. They get themselves another tower. They're putting pressure onto top. The wave clear with Anivia will finally arrive. The Dragon is secured, but I think G2's happy with the Baron and a top tier 2.
Yeah, they'll take that trade, right? They're now 3,000 gold ahead. Caps at 4 items, Hans Sama at 5, plus his boots. SkewMond's GA is half the way back off cooldown. And even Broken Blade, who was massively behind in this game, is within 400 gold, again, of this Akali, right? So the threat on a side lane of the Akali is not fully nullified, but it's much less scary than it was.
And the thing is, regardless of the comp, right, even if I think Shifters have a stronger comp and it's hard for G2 to play into, they're not even beating them through team fighting anymore. They're just playing better macro. And, you know, back in the day, back when we were young, 2017, it used to be said that the cleanest and highest level of League is one where you win without killing your opponents, right?
True. That's what the LCK used to do.
Yeah, it was just that macro masterclass.
But now, whatever G2 does is the second cleanest and second highest level of League, because they beat Gen G and they beat BFX,
That's true,
you know?
that's true. Well, for viewers at home, we're going to ride that until it's dead. Like, just to be super clear.
Look, man, we wrote 2019
it's been
for
7 years, okay? We're going to ride that until it's dead, okay? And you might think it's dead. Oh, you don't know.
No, it's never dead.
Okay, you don't know.
What is dead shall never die, Betty. Rise and rise again. And Caps' Rise doing a good job.
Beautiful transition. Very clean.
Thank you. I do still worry a little bit for G2 on a Siege. They do have Baron buff for the next minute, but Siege is hard into an Anivia because if you ever overstep, Crystallize happens. And they also don't have the longest range.
Ooh, Han's poke, though.
Yeah, Corki's poke is good, but his auto attacks aren't that long.
That's true.
Nora rises, Nora with Broken Blades. There's SkewMond, Shroud of Darkness, Realm Warp coming out, Paranoia being used as well with the TP coming in. G2 read this like a book, but not one of those complicated ones. It was like a kindergarten book. SkewMond sat in the mid lane, and all that happened immediately was an easy kill for G2. I couldn't think of a quick rhyme there, Vedi. SkewMond sat in the mid lane. Shifters took the...
Shifters experience a ton of pain.
Nice, good one, Vedi. That's why you're the poet. I'm not. That's why you write the rap battles.
You can stop now. You can stop digging the shovel. It's all good. I'll take over from here.
Digging the shovel? That's a mistake.
Another inhibitor is going to fly. I think G2 is looking to end the game right now. They have the numbers advantage. 3 inhibitors down. They just need a couple more waves with the Baron. They should be looking to close this one out. Yeah,
it should be pretty easy from here. Hansama just stepping up with those Sheen procs from the Triforce. Shifter's going to try and defend, but they don't have a huge amount of engage when that jungler is dead. It's all kind of on the buy as Rooster goes in, does dive onto Labrov. A minion eats the shuriken and Labrov will survive through it. Meanwhile, towards the top side, Caps has a Saris. Labrov takes a kill. The Nexus towers fall and Shifters once again experience a mid-game collapse. It is synonymous with them these days. The Shifters try to defend. SkewMond has a GA. Broken Blade has enough health to take down the Nexus. G2 clean it out. A clean 13-13, 38-minute game there from G2.
And so we're going to be jumping straight into draft. It is G2 that get first pick once more.
Yeah, Shifters deciding they want second pick again. They'll be on the red side, and we will see G2 banning out the Nautilus. They're going to get rid of the Orianna on Shifters' side. Varus again from G2. No surprises as of yet. You singing along to the music there?
Yeah, it is catchy, isn't it? What? Yunara Lulu. That's what I was thinking of. Oh, Seraphine Ash is also still
Seraphine
open.
Ash is open.
Yeah, normally in game 2s, that's just where we see the Yunaras pop up. Normally they're even first picked. If you ban the Ash here, then Yunara just becomes mega heavy prio. LPL love first picking the Lulu instead because they'll argue that, like, well, if you don't have something good to pair alongside the Yunara, then it's just not as scary.
That makes sense.
Whereas there are still a lot of good AD carries you can pair alongside a Lulu, like Caitlyn, for example. You can pick Kai'Sa. I don't think it's the best lane, but like you can put all sorts of things with the Lulu. So generally the Lulu first pick I think makes a ton of sense. And yeah, honestly, there's not a lot of it you can answer into. We did see the Lucian Melio be successful, right? From Na'Vi, so maybe that's the answer to Lulu now. Maybe that buff was all Lucian needed.
Jackspektra would tell you so.
Well, I do find that quite comical because I was literally a week before telling Jack they need to buff Lucian, and he said, and I quote, "Lucian doesn't need a buff." So quite the hypocrite we have on our hands.
No, because he's saying the buff was a big deal. So you can say he doesn't need a buff and the buff can still be a big deal. He thinks Lucian is strong.
Why
and
are you his lawyer now?
Well, because
he can't defend himself.
Exactly. Last time he ran onto the caster desk to defend himself into Finn's mic, and it was a whole heated rivalry situation.
I did see that, yeah.
Lulu is the first pick. G2 learning from the LPL.
Seems like it.
If only they'd done it before first and finals, you know?
If only. Well, now for Shifters, usually you'll see something like the Yunara takeaway, just because we don't want you to have Yunara Lulu. And then they've got to figure out what to pair alongside it, which becomes the challenge. But there are still some decent supports that you can put alongside it if you want to. The Pantheon, we talked about it last game. I think it's really good. LCK absolutely loves this champion. Very flexible, good early skirmisher, global presence, very well-rounded, kind of fits into most comps. Some would argue that he kind of falls off later into the game, which I would say is largely true.
Yeah.
His single target focus means that when you get mega late, it becomes a little bit weaker, but there are plenty of ways to facilitate that. Ooh! Ooh!
No.
Ah, don't tease me, Trymbi.
You were so happy for a second, then we went to Jhin, and then we went to Nico instead, and that's much more likely to be locked in. There it is, Nico for Shifters. What are they spelling? Because Boukada went through a bunch of champions. It was like Nunu, Nidalee.
Well, so, I mean, the Nunu is a SkewMond classic. Sure. So I know that one. But the Nidalee...
But he also went through Kalista, Blitzcrank.
I think he was just flicking through the champs, bro. I don't think there's some deeper meaning.
Sometimes they try and spell things and I miss it and it makes me sad.
I mean, maybe. Our Twitter analyst will figure it out. It's all good. All right, Wukong plus Yunara? Yeah, Wukong plus Yunara.
Big shock.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
I will say, Yunara hasn't done that well in the LEC. You saw it pop up on the screen there, 5 and 14 across the LEC so far this split. So, I mean, I still think it's really good.
Well,
Still does a lot of work.
I will say that I don't think Yunara in isolation is that OP. I think it's the combination of Yunara Lulu that makes it strong. That's usually why you see it picked later in drafts, once things like Ezreal's gone and Varus and Ashe and all the other big hitters. Ooh, Jace for Rooster. Okay. I mean, this was something you talked about in the previous draft, which was very much that when he gets his hands on a champion like this, he definitely knows how to play it. Rooster is just a good laning top laner. Yeah. He knows how to build leads, and when he gets resources, he knows how to use leads. So putting him on a champion like this is always solid. I will say, though, that like when you're playing a champ like Jace top, I do think it requires an extra layer of coordination, because the expectation is that he's going to be where a lot of your gold is going early. Yeah. So we'll need to see how Shifters can find that mid-game coordination as we get into the game.
Also get rid of things like the Scion that can just tank him, right? Get rid of things that Broken Blade can just survive the lane on easily. Cassante doesn't seem like it would be that fun into the Jace, but also something that Broken Blade has brought out a couple of times just as a neutralizer. Sure. Whenever he can. Could look, I mean, Rumble would be scary. But
would he do Yasuo?
Yasuo into Jace?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just for the wind wall?
He could do... No, Shen is like his Ambessa pick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could do Renekton. It's not a great matchup, but it's fine if they just want a body.
Is there anything that is a good matchup into Jace?
Good matchup? You'd have to ask one of the top lane pros.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, right? I'm not an expert on top lane matchups, to be completely honest with you. Normally, if I see it, I could tell you who has prio, how things go.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But in advance, no. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, things with mobility that can get onto Jace, generally good. Tanks also fine. Irelia is a good pick into Jace, absolutely. Like but I think Irelia is just a bad champ in pro play.
But maybe it's what BB needs. He's been struggling in lane, Betty. Give him the Irelia. No, give him some confidence.
Put him on Cassante.
How's Camille into Jace? Good gap closer, probably doesn't have enough
sucks
damage.
Early, outscales later.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because Camille, like, they deliberately really tried to nerf Camille's early game over the years.
Her Q2 is a feast on a Q. Like, what is this? It's like, oh, do you want Cho'Gath but with mobility? Yes.
No, but the actual thing they had to nerf was her E.
Yeah.
Because early on, her E was kind of way too low cooldown.
Also, with the positioning of the walls in top lane, with it being slightly wider, she's slightly nerfed as well, because they didn't increase the range on her E. Instead, well, I say instead, we're going to see the Kai'Sa locked in for Shifters. They are going for a bit of a dive. Vedi, man, like Vedi, man.
I got excited.
Keep getting too excited by these picks. Aurora is going to be the lock, and yep, I think we all saw that one coming. Cassante for Broken Blade in the top lane. 3 and 11 in the LEC, but Broken Blade 100% win rate on the 2 games. He has brought it out here in spring.
Okay. Well, you know, I thought for a while that EU Aurora just wasn't it, but then Caps had that one Aurora game at first stand, and I changed my mind very quickly. I was like, all right, you know what? Caps gets the Aurora pass.
That was a good game.
Yeah, I also just think this is a good comp to play her into. It's just that, like, I think of her as a shotgun champion, and once you fired the shot, it takes so long to reload. Yeah. And so you've really got to make that shot count, you know? And I think into champions like Kai'Sa, it can be really difficult, especially if you like throw that whole burst into the shield. The Pantheon shield can also be very irritating, his E, the ability to mitigate damage. But I do trust in Caps to find that angle and to make sure that when he lands that EQ with the electric Q proc, it's going to have impact. So we'll see how much impact he's able to have. The main damage dealers throughout this game are going to be Han Summer and SkewMond for G2, with a lot of that utility and support coming through from the Lulu. And Cassante, I think that G2's just team finding is a little bit stronger overall, just because SkewMond's engage is pretty reliable. And when you have the support of the Lulu as well, he can really tank up and be very durable. In contrast to Shifters, they've got a ton of poke on their side. Kai'Sa usually goes to these cross builds where she's got a bit of AP along with AD, so the W will start to hit later on into the game, but both Taliyah and Jace just very effective at providing that damage.
They have a lot of damage on Shifters' side.
Yeah, they definitely do. We got a bit of insight from Jackie's a few weeks ago where I asked him, like, why isn't Taliyah being played? And he was basically like, well, the nerf to her Q doesn't feel that bad, but basically, like, because it's 5 damage every single Q, like it just adds up over time, especially when you're clearing waves. And so often you'll find yourself having to throw an extra Q, and like that extra delay can have an impact. And he's like, it just feels different and you can really feel it. So which is why a lot of pros have just kind of moved away from the Taliyah compared to how high priority she was earlier in the year.
But for Nuke, it is the only champion he's won on this split.
Oh.
We had the Ezreal Karma fail in game 1.
True.
Can Nuke's Taliyah be what brings Shifters their second win.
To be honest, mate, I don't think it's the picks. I don't really like their ability to get early leads has been completely fine.
Yeah, and they'll probably get them again this game because they have lanes that will get prio.
I mean, Pantheon's got a ton of lanes to play around.
Top lane especially.
I do think Nuke should have push early into Aurora. Aurora is generally considered a lane bully, but when a champion like Talia can just press Q on the waves, I don't think it's going to be as bad. I mean, we'll see. Top lane should kind of suck a little bit early for Broken Blades, and then bot lane is interesting.
So I think bot lane is quite dependent on whether Trymbi lands a good tangle buff early on. You can't fight into the Cultivation of Spirit from Hans Summer because Paduck, like short range on the Kai'Sa, a Cathian Rain, unless it's an isolated target, isn't going to give you enough damage in trade.
I think Yunara should have push, though.
I think so too. Yeah. I think so too.
Because I think that like the biggest thing is just like Lulu's auto attacks are just way more annoying early, and Kai'Sa just can't approach. So Nico can probably hit them, but then the Kai'Sa probably won't be able to without taking a ton of damage in exchange, right?
Let's see how much poke Trymbi can get down in that lane. Hans Summer had a really good game one overall. Didn't really get to talk about him a huge amount, but on the Corki, he was doing quite a lot of damage. 40% of his team's total damage.
Absolutely.
Which is a number you sometimes see on AD carries, but it's still, you know, impressive total.
Yeah, I mean, 923 damage per minute is very impressive. Like, even though he did end up getting killed in the bot lane 2 versus 2, he did bounce back nicely. And yeah, I think overall he's having a very solid split. I think that's usually the case with regular season Hans Summer. He's never really the superstar, but he's always very, very solid.
Sure.
Often very consistent, a consistent part for the team that they can often rely on.
Yeah, and as is SkewMond at the moment. Like, he's being played.
Okay, so the problem for SkewMond is...
Oh, here we go.
Well, our standards for him were very high for first stand.
True,
there was conversations of, is he the best jungler in the world?
Sure.
Right? So like that. So when you then come back and have performances like we've seen from him this split, I would say it's like an underperformance based on the expectations that we had of him.
I agree with that. I think G2 have underperformed based on the expectations we have of them.
Yeah,
right? Like
sure.
you beat Gen G, you beat BFX, you get to the finals of a tournament, you expect it to pop off after it. We saw a similar thing with KC last spring, right? Like they got to the finals of first stand and then didn't really see them really perform to the same degree going into spring. I've had hangovers. I've never had one that's lasted 4 weeks. I'm just putting it out there. At some point, you got to stop imbibing and start surviving in the games, you know?
How many hair of the dogs can you have?
That's
a real question.
True, man.
Right, bot crab
I have Sphinx cats, so I don't even think about the hair. Oh, maybe a collapse coming in from Shifters towards this crab, as you were talking about.
Oh, but Nuke gets a roam first.
Yeah, Nuke is coming across. Trymbi chunked down. Caps looking for the flank position. Boukada going in with a shield bolt. Trymbi flashing forward as well. The seismic shove doesn't connect, and now SkewMond can turn it around. Caps flash to miss the twofold hex on Trymbi, but SkewMond doesn't miss that decimating smash. Shifters forced away, and first blood over to G2.
So just a small execution error from the side of Shifters. The main problem was Nuke didn't quite get in range quickly enough. If we get a replay up, you'll see that Nuke just was a little bit late. I think that if he'd committed his flash as well, they would have been able to find this kill onto the Wukong, but the stun will come through from Boukada, and then the flash route from Trymbi, that coordination was there, but they just needed that extra bit of follow-up. So Labrov is looking pretty low. They set their sights onto SkewMond. W comes in, connects the flash route, tries to connect the route onto 2 actually, but the bonus movement speed from Labrov, but then that knockback from Nuke, now they're out of juice. They've got nothing left.
Yeah, tiny thing as well, Labrov actually getting the help picks onto Trymbi gave them vision in the tri-bush that they shouldn't have had, right? So he was able to keep harassing Trymbi alongside Hans Summer, and Paduck was forced out of that tri-bush because of it, meaning that they were already down to like a half HP before the fight really began, as we do find ourselves going into a short pause.
We're unpausing, so that's good news. You don't have to listen to his yap about internet anymore.
Yeah, some people being like, oh, what ping did you have? Some of the numbers in there, like, there was a jump to 330, which I know some people play on, but now they're on 2 again. And I think we all wish we could play on 2 ping. Don't think it would change my output at all, but it would be nice to be like just be able to ping it in the game. Let's get back into the game. G2 won a skirmish down towards the Dragon Pit early on. Shifters tried to start themselves, but couldn't find. Small gold lead for G2, most of that sitting on SkewMond, as Boukada is going towards the mid lane, has the flash, going to shield bolt in with the flash, knock Caps back, and that's the combination that you talked about, Vedi. Tried and true, works every time. Labrov falling low here as Paduck is polymorph near the end of the damage coming out from Hans Summer, and because of that, he is forced away.
But they took advantage of the fact that Caps did use his flash in the previous skirmish on the bot side river, which meant that, I mean, easy gank, easy play, and an easy kill secured for Boukada. He's still behind in gold, 300 behind SkewMond. Quite surprising, actually, but The camp lead that SkewMond was able to build, on top of a bit of farm that he's been able to collect in mid lane, means that he holds on to the, first blood as well.
Yeah.
Just giving him that slight edge.
Didn't used to. Remember feats of strength?
Well, it did, and then it didn't, then it did.
Yeah, exactly. It came back. Came back. Just like Hextech. Rocket Belt. Not Rocket Belt. Yes, Proto Belt, and then Rocket Belt, and then... What was the other one I was thinking of? Gunblade.
We need to stop talking about how old we are in League of Legends.
Man, Wriggle's Lantern. Best item in the game.
Nah, it was Death by a Grasp for me.
It's coming back.
What?
No, I think I just made that up. Kind of wish it would, you know.
It was way too OP.
It was so mad. 20% damage amp. It's just like Ari with charm.
People don't know. I used to play one-shot Victor with Death by a Grasp.
Oh god.
And that was yeah, it was a chunky chunk of damage.
Boukada looking for a gank down towards the bottom side. Hun Summer still has flash, as does Labrov. Might just be covering here to make sure that SkewMond couldn't come in for a gank himself. Looks like Paduck and Trymbi did just want to push out the wave. Leads for Shifters in the mid and the jungle, the top lane, sorry, right now, as Rooster in the isolated 1v1 has done exactly what you'd expect a Jace in the isolated 1v1 with the Cassante to do, which is constantly chip away at his health bar, get those grasp of the Undying procs, switching to melee while the ranged auto attack is in the air to get your grasp. You know, it's a nice little mechanic you can do on the Jace.
And then plates.
And then plates.
Plates. That's what he's been after. He's gotten 2 so far in the top lane. I am surprised Boukada didn't go and get Dragon. He was shadowing bot after they were pushing, but I do think he could have transitioned from bot towards the Dragon. Instead, he's now on the top side, skirmishing with SkewMond, who is already level 6.
Yeah,
he wants
Boukada
that crown
needs
for
this.
himself.
Needs this for the 6. Doesn't
Actually,
have an upgraded
will he
smite.
get 6 off of that?
It'll be close.
I don't think he will.
Well, I'm going to say he will just... No, I'm not. I'm going to say he won't. I'm going to say he won't. Vedi, you're entirely correct once again. We're on the same wavelength.
Right.
On Summer blocking there for Labrov to make sure that Labrov can get his recall off.
But pushing lanes for Shifters in top and mid means that it's much easier for Boukada to play to the top side. Dragon, though, again, bit of a late prio for this. I mean, it ends up being fine. We'll delay the game a little bit more. In contrast to some other games that we've seen so far this weekend. But supports now make their way into the middle lane, as they often frequent on their tour of Summoner's Rift. Their main goal is to provide some vision for their mid laners, along with clearing out some vision from the opponent's mid lane. But it is Shifters.
It's a tough job, but someone has to do it.
Someone has to do it.
Good job, Trymbi and Labrov. Really showing up for supports everywhere.
Do you know what else
right
it also means? Mid laners don't have to spend 75 gold buying a control ward, thus delaying their next item spike.
That is very true. I will say I rarely use my control wards around mid. I need them to protect me in bot lane. Trymbi going to clear out some vision as well with the Scryer's Bloom. Labrov's going to run across level 6 already. Boukada is also level 6. Grand Starfall always an option. SkewMond looking for Nuke in the mid lane here, who flashes away, but the flash chase with the Cyclone. Tempestuous afternoon for Nuke as he dies for the first time this game.
Yeah, so a response gank a little bit later, but they make it work regardless, and they get the flash out from Nuke as well. G2 get their second to the board, and this should be an easy Dragon start. But Boukada with level 7 has his ultimate available. No ulti on Caps means that he's not going to offer a huge amount in the fight.
Yeah,
so
but Trymbi doesn't have ult as well. Like, I think if Trymbi had ult, maybe you're looking more for this fight. Boukada might just look for the 1v1. But the problem for him is that G2's bot lane is moving up. SkewMond forced away. Boukada can pull the Drake out.
This is Boukada. Kicks him into a pit. My Dragon.
It doesn't really count if the guy jumps out of the pit.
Yeah, he kicks him out of the pit.
He didn't kick him at all, Vedi. The guy elected to not be in the pit anymore.
This is Boukada.
It's like, oh, if you fill out this form, you can stay in the Dragon pit right now, or you can just exit.
I feel like you're kind of ruining the whole scene that I just created. You know, Boukada walking in with his spear and shield, kicking Wukong out of the pit. This is Boukada.
So I love the scene, it just wasn't true to reality.
No, it was.
Similar to
That's
that movie, actually. Because at 300, everyone's like, oh, it wasn't.
That is a testament to how accurate it was.
It's importantly, it's a testament of a Spartan warrior. And so, unsurprisingly, he bigs up his soldier's achievements slightly.
So that was the clever part that I didn't realize until after I watched that movie. I'm going to have to shut up.
Because it happens that you find out about the end of the movie.
Trymbi.
So Tanglebarb's coming down. Trymbi on the wrong side of the wall now as G2 begin to collapse. Trymbi uses the heal for the movement speed. Polymorph coming out. He will be able to walk away.
Okay.
We're going to go back to discussion of 300 as a movie?
Yeah, no, I don't think we will have time. I think we're going to get... Oh, actually, we're going to get action top.
All out. Pull across the wall here into the Tribush. Rooster flashes over BB, and with the Grand Starfall coming in, SkewMond here to protect. Boukada flashes in with a shield bolt. The spear's not going to be enough damage. Aegis Assault out as Trymbi is spotted on a control ward. Cyclone back in. Pop Blossom. SkewMond still takes the kill. Nuke trying to get up with the Weaver's Wall, but he's isolated by Caps and Labrov. A double for Skew, and once again, a skirmish around the river goes absolutely pear-shaped for Shifters.
The flash commitment from Boukada, I think, was just too much of an overcommitment. He thinks that he has the damage to get the kill on the Broken Blade, but all he ends up doing is luring his team into a false sense of security, allowing for SkewMond to get a good answer back.
The problem is, right, when you have a position like this where Broken Blade is pulling Rooster into this very narrow chasm, when you have the gates of Thermopylae, oh, that did not work. You have the gates of Thermopylae here, right? So what you want to do is set up a shield wall along that line. As soon as you overextend going across here, you open yourself up for the flanks. And because you've opened yourself up for the flanks, it's so easy for the enemies to get behind your lines and then find kills.
Well, I don't think SkewMond even needed to go behind the lines.
It's true. Just went through the lines.
Ah, bomba! La 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 la!
Yeah, he couldn't really have said it any better myself, to be honest. Like
better in the original Greek, I think.
I think so, yes. Now, Labrov, are you dead?
No.
No. He did have to use flash, heal, and ult. But I like that at least Boukada is trying his best to be proactive on the map. Unfortunately, he's not really finding a huge amount outside of that one gank that he found in mid lane. Meanwhile, SkewMond has a 1.6k gold lead.
Yes.
Trinity Forced finished.
SkewMond has got every kill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wukong is quite fed. So this may pose problems for Shifters as we move into the mid game. Because unlike the previous game, Shifters do not hold a gold lead.
Yeah. SkewMond is the king of the swingers, the jungle VIP on this Wukong right now. And it's going to be very difficult to deal with him. No flash.
Jungle Book reference?
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah. That is old.
That is old.
Yeah.
I was going to go with a Harambe reference, but he hasn't died enough for that.
I see. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Also quite dark, Medic. Quite
I'm
dark.
sorry.
Quite a dark.
It's a Monday afternoon. It's been raining for 2 days. I feel that's the headspace, you know?
Okay.
Also, you know, I kind of want Shifters to perform at times. I think...
At times? What does that mean?
Like, I want them to win a game, man.
I would like them definitely to show up. I'd like the bottom of our table to be a little bit more competitive. Right now they find themselves at 0-3 in the standings. The previous game definitely felt very winnable, but right now things are looking kind of bleak in this early game. I'm not going to count them out completely just yet. They do still have ways to find picks against G2 as the game continues. A minute and 9 seconds until the next dragon spawns, and this will be an opportunity for Shifters to gain another advantage on the map.
And the question is, can they actually find it? Because in comes SkewMond again with the Cyclone, and well, that weather report is looking kind of grim for him in the mid lane.
Yeah, he still had no flash. The flash timer was just about to come up. Unfortunately for him, unavailable, which meant that with SkewMond and Caps' damage, they just obliterate him. He will be back alive in time to potentially contest the Dragon. G2 won't have those ultimates available.
Tangle Barbs onto Hans Sommer here, has to use the barrier. Help picks coming out as well. Paduck doesn't have the killer instinct for any further chase, but that's good damage on the G2 bot lane, opening up Boukada to look for a gank. SkewMond doesn't have that Cyclone. There's the TP behind from Caps, though, as Hans Sommer is forced away. Now SkewMond's going to meet the enemy jungler. Good shield vault for the stun immediately. Caps flashes for the twofold hex. That's the second time he's done that this game, and both times he's missed. However, Boukada doesn't have the luxury of walking out like his bot lane did, and that Baker is going to get fried.
So this was just a good response from G2. They see that Shifters is winning these bot lane 2v2 trades, so Boukada's now threatening a dive, but G2 counter by having SkewMond deviate from his normal pathing, path towards bottom lane, and you'll see it here. So he's securing his red buff, he paths back towards bot, the TP coming in, Shifters now find themselves at a numbers disadvantage. There's little that they can do other than run away. Caps tries to find a pick, gets rooted up, but it doesn't matter because Boukada's isolated with no flash of his own, meaning that SkewMond finds himself another kill and a dragon to boot.
Yeah, Nuke didn't have the TP on his respawn, so he had to run all the way back out from base, meaning he couldn't be there as quickly as Caps, meaning G2 always had that numbers advantage, and with a 3.5k gold lead now as well, the small sliver of hope that was there for Shifters, maybe a dragon stacking sort of game, is very quickly collapsed.
And now you've rotated your bottom lane into mids to best set you up for the Herald spawning. Well, in 7 seconds, they can have Boukada Wow, Boukada, yeah, the awkward positioning for Boukada is that he needs to clear those bot camps. He probably wants to get the crab for himself as well. But by going for the crab and playing for it, you're going to really delay the top herald. Oh, okay, never mind. G2 says they want to fight for the crab.
I mean, Trymbi's just going to get chased out here, no? On Summer looking for the chase. Tangle Barb's coming out. Meanwhile, on the top side, Broken Blade does go all out. Thinking didn't quite get Rooster against the wall there, so didn't drag him back into that tri-bush. The crab battled over and SkewMond secures it. And Broken Blade missing the Intofo's dashes back in. Has enough minions here for now and realizes he needs to flash away from Rooster's clutches.
Yeah, Broken Blade did not play that well.
No.
He kind of flashed effectively under zero pressure. And Rooster found a small win. He's going to push out another wave. And Broken Blade, I mean, he has TP, but I don't know if he wants to commit it. Either way, G2 still in a very comfortable spot. They have a very healthy gold lead, about 3.5k the advantage. SkewMond looking to leverage the advantage he has to seal away some camps, get a bit of damage down.
I mean, SkewMond is so far ahead, man. Like, he's got a full Sundered Sky and a Triforce to a Sundered Sky, a pickaxe, and a Ruby Crystal. He is absolutely monstrous, and BB didn't use the TP. He ran down towards bot side instead. Caps is going to go and catch that top side wave because he doesn't have teleport, so if you're going to fight over the Rift Herald, it makes sense to have the guy down in bot lane who has his teleport available. Rooster also has one of his own, as does Nuke, so Nuke is going to be the one who is assigned to marking the Cassante for now, although Rooster's going out there as well.
I mean, they can't contest this. They're too slow. The resets come out later than G2's. Remember that even though Broken Blade lost the wave top, he was just already committed to making the swap happen to bot. The power that they have in mid, have caps catch top, and with SkewMond being as strong as he is, just start the objective. No reason to waste time. They've just got to be careful now. A dive is kind of Shifter's only play. Broken Blade just has to respect it.
And he does. Walks away. There was tons of wards in the river for G2 because they played around that a little moment ago.
I was about to say, they can drop the Herald mid as well after seeing the investment bot. So this is just really good macro from G2 overall. They could use the Herald top lane if they wanted to.
Nah, I think you just charge it in mid. Oh, Vedi. The genius of macro movement.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, you've now got 3 members of Shifters committed to top, but they don't really connect it onto anything, so it's just to allow for a quicker rotation.
Does the Herald not get it dies before it gets another charge?
Yeah.
So if you charge it into terrain close enough to a tower, it does sometimes get another charge.
Well, I think it's also because it was top lane, and then the tower died. So in theory, it would get another charge.
Maybe. I thought it had to charge into a tower, and then that tower died for you to get the extra charge. Sometimes the mechanics of Rift Herald can be slightly confusing as Grand Starfall comes out from Boukada, Pathmaker out from Broken Blade, but he is going to die! Shutdown goes over to the Spartan.
So good job from Shifters, finding a punish onto Broken Blade, who's just overextended in the bottom lane. G2 have used all of their tempo to make these top plays happen, where they've secured that mid tower, secured the top tower, and now you just kind of have to play mega weak side, right?
Yeah.
The rest of your team is resetting. They may be clearing out some camps, pushing out another wave, and there's going to be no support for Broken Blade. Meanwhile, Shifters want to try and do something on the map, and so he just becomes the easiest target to play for. With Dragon spawning in a minute's time, G2 have set themselves up very nicely to just push out another wave, get as much gold as you can, ideally complete another item, you'll have that advantage. But it looks like Shifter's getting eager to make a play of their own.
Getting shifty with it. Trymbi in with the pop blossom. Between worlds goes Caps. Doesn't really... Oh, Caps is back in! Do they know? Do they know the weirding out as Trymbi takes a chunk? Caps goes in with the rocket belt, and man, he went between worlds and then he went into the afterlife. That was not what Caps wanted to do there at all.
I think that was a misplay from Caps. He ended up giving over a kill. Now, Broken Blade is going to try and interrupt the backs.
Seismic Jump's going to knock back that Cassante. No real collapse coming in from the rest of G2. Broken Blade just went in here on his lonesome. Well, BB, anything Caps can do, you can do better, it seems, as he just ints as well. Okay, dudes.
Okay, so G2 doing the reverse Shifters.
It's so true, man.
They have just given 2 kills over thanks to mechanical misplays. Shifters is going to get this top tower. This is going to be like a 1k gold swing over to Shifters. A much needed relief fund passed over by G2. As Shifters will now be able to push all the way towards the T2. I think this is a little greedy to go for this.
I think he needs to stop after this point, especially when you're spotted by the Squires. Boom. Wave cleared out by the weirding. Yeah, G2 shifted from second gear to reverse there pretty rapidly. But still a 2.5k gold lead for them. 2 dragons as well. And for Shifters, I mean, it's a small sign of something positive, perhaps. They need it, because their schedule is not looking the easiest. Fnatic, KC, and Na'Vi all over in Every on our roadshow next week, and then after that, they still have Heretics and Koi to play. Sitting at 0-3, possibly 0-4 after this game. Need to be basically winning the rest of those to guarantee a spot. 4 of 5 would be usually enough to make it into playoffs.
They absolutely do, yeah. It's a tight race with so many teams needing to get those wins. We've already got one team locked for playoffs, but let's see what happens here. Pantheon ultimate, I can see him in the position. He's throwing it top.
Starfall out as they look for Caps. Between worlds he goes. Are you going back this time, Caps? He's going back because there's a TP behind. This time, a slightly better decision. Boukada's going to flash, then jump onto Labrov, who has to use the wild growth. Weaver's wall coming out. They'll dive on Hans Summer, who jumps across the wall. Seismic Shove doesn't connect. And here comes the gold. SkewMond finally joining the fray. Boukada falls. SkewMond still looking for that second Cyclone. Nimbus strike forward. Broken Blade on the backline is taken out, but Paduck falls for it. Shifters have got one out of the fight, but can't really get much more.
It's a very heavy commitment from G2. Shifters happy to get, well, 1 kill back. I thought they would have been able to get more. It was just Broken Blade was very deep. They can't really convert much onto Labrov, who did get very low in the exchange. We'll look back at it, and it's Shifters trying to make a side lane play with the Pantheon ultimate. I like the idea. They don't quite have the lockdown needed to secure that kill onto Caps. Then the TP response looks promising for G2. They have the numbers advantage. Labrov's positioning is a bit awkward though, so he's forced to use the ulti early. That means there's no peel for Hans Summer, who's immediately forced out of the fight. This then allows though for SkewMond to dive in and force double flashes out from Shifters. And with him in the fight, that's all the gold, that's what the damage is. Paduck ends up dropping, 2 kills secured for G2, and only 1 in exchange from Shifters.
Yeah, the big thing for G2 there is Rooster just isn't involved in the fight until Broken Blade flashes on him with the all-out. Like,
Right.
Rooster did 1 accelerated shock blast that went between the uprights, didn't actually find any damage on anyone, and then Broken Blade does go a little bit too deep, chasing for the final kill. It allows Paduck to be caught. G2 extend the gold leads by about 700 off that sequence.
I mean, regardless of the outcome in this game, like, I do have to criticize Broken Blade because I feel like that his performance throughout this split has been a bit rough, but this game as well, like trying to dive top and just flashing over the wall, that play there, ulting onto an isolated Jace in the hopes of getting a kill. Oh, nice Mikhails from Labrov. But yeah, like, Broken Blade is the player I'm keeping my eyes on the most of the next few weeks to really level up, because I think G2's going to need it, especially with the talent of top lane I feel like we have in the league right now is definitely something that he's going to have to be careful of. But regardless, G2 do have a lead. A lot of it is sitting on to SkewMond and Shifters. If they can take him out of the fight, then maybe they can win.
Well, that's the clone. And Boukada is at 3rd HP. SkewMond on the wrong side of the wall. Cyclone is going to come now. Seismic Shove gets him back and they take him out of the fight, Vedi. Labrov, the next target, slowed up by Nuke. He's going to use that Helpix shield to try and survive. Seismic Shove has to be flashed away from. Shifters, it was a 3v5, but they find the kill they want.
Yeah, a really nice collapse from Shifters, and getting that kill onto SkewMond is extremely valuable because that is where the gold lead is for G2. You get a shutdown, you give that over to your Jace, who now is looking very strong. 2.2k the lead for Rooster. The question is, can Shifters use this lead to close out the game and bring us to a game 3?
Yeah, for Rooster, it's exactly what he needed. Cracking performance so far. The question is, he's picked up 2. Can he get a dozen more to close out this game for Shifters? Still a 2,000 gold lead for G2 overall.
I will not laugh.
No?
I will just be disappointed.
Okay. Would you say his cock has crowed?
I'm upset at you.
Okay.
Dragon, a minute away. The fight for vision around the river begins. SkewMond's on the top side of the rift, so he's basically saying, Labrov, get on that.
Oh?
Oh,
Nuke got it.
win for Shifters.
Yeah, and Unraveled Earth. Enough damage apparently to take it. Doesn't do a huge amount.
Yeah, I mean, the problem for G2 is they don't have the numbers really to control this river, so Shifters are the one with the advantage. Top pushed out. Let's see if Rooster has enough gold to buy anything.
He does, Schroeder's Grudge.
Okay.
It's pretty solid.
With some control wards as well. Top lane are buying control wards.
Yeah, I mean, when you are 2,000 gold ahead and your team is 2,000 gold behind, I feel there is a slight obligation to get some control wards.
No, I think that's fair. That's fair. 2 in his inventory, so he can be quite flexible with how he uses those. But here, now comes SkewMond, regrouping with his team. The fight for mid-prow is going to be the start, and then we will move into the river.
So there's some poke from Shifters. Trymbi will look for a flank with the Pop Blossom. If he can get on Hans Summer and Labrov, and then you have follow-up Shield Vault, Seismic Shove, like if you can take them out of the fight early, even if SkewMond's going in with the Cyclone, he shouldn't have enough damage to get through the entirety of Shifters. So I think there's a lot of weight, not only on Rooster to land poke before the fight begins, but also on Trymbi to find a good Pop Blossom He could use it as a zoning tool. If SkewMond goes in, he then tries to pop Blossom the rest of G2 away. But right now, G2 are using Broken Blade as a zoning tool of their own. They are a bit split now. SkewMond stepping forward. Look at that Cyclone. Nuke trying to get him from the side as well as Hans Summer is down to half HP. Nuke chipping away at SkewMond. Broken Blade dashing forward. They flash. They go in with the Tangle Barbs onto the Wukong, but he can dash across the wall. And there's no real chase left for Shifters. Broken Blade the only target who is by himself right now. Still has the flash, will hold on to it. Pathmaker flashes the wall. The chase continues for Shifters. Broken Blade dashes to a colleague. Slowed up though, it's enough. Grand Starfall coming out. Wild growth from Labrov to try and survive into the Mikhails to dodge the shield bolt stun, but with a killer instinct, Paduck and Boukada clean it up.
Shifters were in an awkward spot to start off that fight, but once G2 had split apart enough, they realized, hey, we can actually find a good couple of picks here. They'll convert this into the bot lane tower. G2 put themselves on sole point. But the biggest thing is this gold gap has largely closed.
Yeah.
The advantage that SkewMond had is now being generated by Rooster. The mid lane gap and the bot lane gap is non-existent, especially after that kill that Paduck just picked up. And you can see SkewMond forced out of the pit. Broken Blade very isolated from his team. He had to go the long way around as he was trying to create space in the river. Uses the flash. Labrov had the ulti, but he decides not to use it here. I guess because he believes that there's a further engage coming, so he saves it for himself. A quick Mikhails gets him away to safety, but not for long, as the shutdown comes through from Boukada, allowing him to get some kills.
A couple of mistakes there from G2. I think maybe Labrov trying to save Broken Blade as well was a little bit like, maybe just sack him. You know, he's on the wrong side of the wall. He's got Flash, he's got Pathmaker. Maybe he could have got out with those, and if he can't, give it up, right? You're using your heal, you're using your wild growth at the end of it, and Grand Starfall coming in is always just going to close off that gap. Rooster did use his Flash in that last fight. Gold basically even between the two teams now. The difference, once again, Rooster and SkewMond are the guys with the money bags in their pockets. Very much the Scrooge McDucks of this game, especially Rooster. Oh my lord, he is so strong on this Jace right now as he goes for the accelerated shot blast onto Labrov. His flash is about to come off cooldown. Does need the protection of Broken Blade, but Shifters just trying to get a little bit of control for their own in this blue side jungle.
I like how Boukada's just walking in with Rooster, doesn't care, knows that he's stronger. He's going to force G2 out of their side of the map and get good vision control around the Baron. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to start the Baron, but the threat of a Baron start now just puts G2 more on edge. It becomes more dangerous for them to push out both top and mid, especially with the control that Shifters have and their ability to quickly rotate and create a numbers advantage thanks to the Pantheon ulti. So, well played there by Shifters, playing it patient, playing it calm, that coordination that we needed to see from them in the mid-game. We're starting to see, but they are still down in objectives. The fact that the threat of the Dragon Soul is real is something that they're going to be forced into that fight whether they like it or not.
Nah, but dude, man, we're at 27 minutes and the game's even. Like, the Shifters are going to throw a mid-game fight in like 30 seconds.
We don't know that.
It is so doomed. This is the quintessential Shifters position right here.
Okay.
They just got 3 items on Paduck. He's really strong. Dusk and Dawn, Ginsu, Static Shift, very big spike.
Sure, Infinity Edge finish though for Hans Summer as well.
I mean, I agree, and I think G2 are going to win the next fight because Shifters are going to take a bad one. It's just what happens, man.
Now have some faith. This is the game where Shifters turn it all around.
Here's the thing, faith has to be earned to a degree.
True.
Shifters have not
Does
earned
it? Is that what faith is? Don't you just blindly believe?
Yeah, it's true, I guess.
Trust
has to be earned. I have no trust. I can have faith.
There you go.
I'll give you I'll give you 3 minutes of faith. Ready?
There you go.
No, I'll give you 90 seconds because that's when the next Drake is up. Okay.
There we
90 seconds of faith, everyone.
All right. Let's believe. Let's believe the Shifters can find a good fight, put themselves in a winning position, get Baron, and bring us to a game 3.
Okay.
Do you trust them to do it? No, but that's fine.
God, no.
Based on experience, that's a fair assessment. But let's see whether or not they can pull it off. Shifters now. Dead even in gold. Good item spikes. 3 items finished across the board. Boukada would have loved that GA, but not quite finished. Ooh, jungler scrapping.
Yeah, looking for that control ward and for, of course, the Scuttle Crab. It will be taken by Shifters. 50 seconds on the Drake now as they are playing through mid-prio to try and get positioning. There's not much vision for Shifters down towards the bottom side. They have that one control ward and then one on the Phaelite. Only a little pocket of vision for G2 as well. Caps very close to his Rabadon's death cap. We'll really want that before the next fight, but you can see he has to be tentative about stepping up for that wave. Doesn't have enough vision in that Shifters jungle or even in the river to know if he can step up. It looks like he doesn't have it yet, otherwise you have to expect he'd be going back and then TPing towards the mid lane. Broken Blade's going to reset and run back out on the rift. Good wave push there. Actually, he's TPing. Labrov takes a chunk. Cap still looking on the edges here. Broken Blade teleports in, has that max health shield now. He can step forward, and G2 will use him as a meat shield to try and get some control of the river. SkewMond trying to get in from the side as well. Labrov still low, as you say. Another shot blast would be his death. Shifters unwilling to pull the trigger as of yet.
Maybe he needs to base. Like, he is dangerously low right now. His positioning is going to be super important. He at the very least needs to get that ultimate out.
Good Weaver's Wall here could really spell G2's downfall.
Nice poke from Shifters. This is exactly what they need to do. Play with patience, play with their range. It's going to be harder, for they're so reliant on SkewMond to actually start these fights for them.
It's really hard for Nuke to join the fight unless he gets around the corner. Caps is trying to gate him off. Now he's there. Weaver's Wall could separate Labrov and Caps straight down to 4,000. There's the Weaver's Wall. Labrov gets knocked back by it. Pop Blossom trying to get off the backline, but Rooster's just dead. As SkewMond and Broken Blade dive in, and that's all the damage just gone. BB finds a double. The Drake's going to be secured by G2 and Vedi. It was 90 seconds, and the faithful have not been rewarded.
That they haven't, Medic. It is a one-sided fight for G2. They take out Han Sama, but the cost was everything. Soul secured. G2 have 4 members alive, and they're looking to get themselves a Baron.
What else can you say?
What else can you say?
It's Shifters. It's a difficult fight for them to take, but...
Well, let's break it down exactly where things go wrong. So Broken Blade, this fight was actually monstrous as he put so much threat onto the backline. Oh, but SkewMond with the initiation. Yeah. 3-man ult into the follow-up from Broken Blade. Yes, the ulti comes down. They throw all of their resources. But Hans, even though he's trapped on the backline, still gets out monstrous damage. The AD carries effectively trade with one another. And so while Paduck can say, yes, I got mine, like, it just was not enough. SkewMond really with the masterclass team fight at the very end.
I really think like Shifters was so focused in the pit that they weren't thinking about where Rooster was and where the positioning was and where SkewMond can get that flank off from. So obviously G2 take the Baron afterwards. They did wait for Han Sama to respawn, so they have 5 Baron buffs on the Rift for the next 2 minutes 37. And for Shifters, I mean, Rooster's still massively ahead. The gold still isn't monumental. Like 3K, it's nothing to be sniffed at, but it's nothing that really is going to define the game at this point. But the Baron buff and the Infernal Soul are back-breaking, to say the least.
Absolutely. So it's a very good spot for
going
G2.
Caps now?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I got 420 gold though, and it's the 20th of April, Betty.
That's true.
Caps is blazing it, man. Like, what a beast.
I mean, he's been quiet this game, but hey, he gets himself a solo kill in top lane, and with the death timers at 48 seconds, G2 off that pick may very well be able to close things out.
That's, man, those are just the moments where you're like, go for Caps, seismic shoved back, he's going to die here. Nice stuff all around from Shifters to get the shutdown, but they're losing an inhibitor for it. The mid wave as well is getting pushed up by Broken Blade, so they're likely to lose a tier 2 at least. Are Shifters
gambling that G2 can't end the game?
I think they just want a tier 2 on Nuke. I think they just want a little bit more gold. I don't think G2 can end off a singular push, but they can definitely take 2 inhibitor towers and 2 inhibs. SkewMond does have Flash and Cyclone.
Yeah, it looks like they're probably just going to take this inhibitor and then...
Back away?
Yeah, just back away. Wait for Caps to respawn. Play for top tower.
Nuke could TP behind. There's a ward there.
Oh, he's going to.
He's going to go for it. Oh, okay. Not on the middle ward. That does make sense. He has a Weaver's Wall. We've got Grand Starfall as well if Boukada wants to chase any further. It's Rooster TPing in. And Nuke just running across. And in the end, G2 just walk out as 4.
They were threatening a trap there, and Shifters not falling for it. But the damage has been done. The base of Shifters is in tatters. With the respawn of Caps, though, G2 sinking there. Okay, SkewMond, he's greeting for Caps. I think a little unnecessary at this point in the game. You could probably
he's not full build.
True, yeah.
That Hex Drinker could be a Maw of Malmortius.
I mean, maybe that's the last bit of gold that he needed. Maybe.
Well, he didn't take the last Raptor, so yes, it was!
Okay.
Now we just need him to be at a Nexus and it not to trigger.
Again, I didn't check. He could have just had enough gold anyway.
He had enough. He needed exactly enough for the control ward.
Okay,
he's a good team player.
Enough. Yeah, the control ward.
Team player.
Yep.
Otherwise, he would have bought 2.
You're
you
right.
know?
That's why he's taking the Wolves and blue buff now, because those are really important.
Well, blue buff is vital for cooldown reduction. I don't know if you knew it gives you this. Also, mana regeneration.
What's the point of the Wolves at this point in the game?
Gotta show him who's boss. He's the king of the swingers, the jungle VIP. Can't have any like lousy wolves in this place,
Yes,
Vedi.
you're right, yeah. No, you're right. Anyway, G2 are
Too
on
close
the
to
tower.
lions. Okay. Oh, it's Jungle Book.
Right, they are eventually
Khan, or
taking
whatever
this
his
tower
name
down.
was. Okay, here we go. Yeah, the tower is down.
Broken Blade acting as bodyguard, trying to protect the team.
And he's continuing to act as a bodyguard. However, getting quite beaten up as he flashes away with a Wild Growth on him. Killer Instinct in from Paduck. He'll take the kill. The Acadian raining up. Trymbi going for Labrov as well, who doesn't have the Wild Growth. And Paduck gets a double. Cyclone coming out, and it's all onto Nuke. But SkewMond's the only one left alive on this top side, and he might not be for much longer. He's going to get hit with a Void Seeker. The Blast Cone will be in his favor. Picks up some Cinders for the move speed, and now has to use the decoy into a Nimbus Strike into Blast Cones again. Oh, the Gromp is standing on the Blast Cone! SkewMond! You were the king of the jungle, and the Gromp took away your throne!
But Broken Blade's positioning here really set all of this up. Because
he was acting as a bouncer, Vedi.
He's trying to clear a ward, completely
Nick's Hoyser.
disrespects Shifters, gets knocked back, gets ulted. Paduck uses his ulti to chase that kill down. Now Labrov is isolated, and then a good ward from Nuke splitting up the team. They catch Hanshammer out. A nice knockback gets that kill onto him. Yes, it's a trade back from SkewMond, but Shifters, they find a good fight. They punish G2, all due to a simple mispositioning there. 2 inhibitors down, a big gold investment that Shifters will be able to get for themselves. But is it enough to buy time as that? Well, now the Elder, 20 seconds.
Oh, congratulations, Hanshammer. 3,000 assists in the LEC. Good job. You might lose the game. Because the Elder Drake is now up. And Infernal Soul will obviously help you out here, but Shifters are in a strong enough position. The gold is basically even. You've got a Void Staff on Paduck. You've got 4 items on Nuke. You have 4 items as well on Rooster. Shifters, the problem at the moment is Nuke isn't really there.
No, the problem is the waves, because that extra pressure means that the longer this is played out by G2, the more that Shifters have to deal with.
SkewMond's flanking Vedi.
Yeah, but I feel like they're spawning him out. They've got good awareness of him trying to find the flank. Hanshammer going to heal up a bit on the Elder. They really don't want to turn this into a 50-50. Like, G2's best player is to not really do anything.
Yeah, just wait.
Yeah, you just wait for the super minions to do work. You can see in the bottom left of your screen the timers of those inhibitors. 30 seconds left on that bot one, still over a minute. So there's enough waves that G2 can stack up and put pressure down. Just keep Shifters interested. Then when you appear in mid lane, exactly like we're seeing Nuke now, this is your opportunity to try and fish for something if you're G2.
Rooster does have TP. He's going to use it. Didn't quite see what he completed there. Guardian Angel is the buy. It's his final item. SkewMond still keeping that Elder interested. Nuke dealing with the mid wave. He has teleport as well. Poke landing onto Hanshammer. The only problem for G2 is if they don't pull the trigger at some point, the poke is big from Shifters, right? You have Rooster who can clear out this wave. Accelerated Shock Blast will do a bunch of damage. Meanwhile, in the top side, they're losing an inhibitor tower. That's G2 who've lost their first inhib tower of the game. Poke continuing to land. Trymbi looking for a flank position here. Has a blast cone for the Pop Blossom. SkewMond on the Drake. It's down to 8k. Labrov almost down, uses the redemption. Nuke goes in with the Weaver's Wall. SkewMond down to half HP. Trymbi still looking for that Pop Blossom. Hanshammer trying to step up. Caps goes in between worlds. Paduck almost falls. Trymbi there. Pop Blossom. Killer Instinct in from Paduck. The Elder Drake secured by G2. SkewMond wins the smite fight. Broken Blade dashes across the wall, but G2 with the Elder on their shoulders will clean up the fight. Double GAs will just raise the dead, and the zombies are sent back. G2 clean up the fight, and Shifters once again lose it.
A 5-0 ace off the back of SkewMond securing that smite. It got a lot closer than it needed to be. Shifters found a final fight to give them a bit more hope, but that hope was snuffed out as G2 looks to 2-0 this best of 3.
And G2 are going to go 3-2 in the LEC here in spring. It has been a tumultuous road so far, and there are still many steps to climb on the staircase to playoffs, but a win is a win for them. And for Shifters, it's the same old story.
Yeah, I mean, SkewMond did a lot of work in that game. He was absolutely the MVP, the superstar. I mean, What a great performance from him on the Wukong. He used those early kills to great effect. His impact in the fights was absolutely massive, and those smite steals. And that is why he is one of the players you can vote for on your Kia Player of the Series, SkewMond, Hansama, or Labrov. I do feel like that SkewMond is probably going to take it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
He often does when he has performances like this.
But yeah, for Shifters, it's a situation where we're still seeing some of those coordination issues come through. Game 2, I mean, they fell behind. They were able to punish a lot of the mistakes that we saw from G2, which was good. But then they could never really convert it into a victory,